You will not let me say this. You are going to represent Diddy, and I know it. And I've known this for 3 weeks, Mark.
P. Diddy's legal team have no shame.
He has a team of 10, yes, 10 attorneys. Trying to defend the indefensible.
And while they call anyone who claims to be a victim of P. Diddy a cash grabber and a clout chaser, that's exactly what they are. Brian Steele literally modelled for Young Thug's clothing line after he got him released.
I wish I was making that up, but in this video we're going to look at Mark Geragos,
who even has his own podcast. Because I'm sick of these lawyers getting their predator clients off so they can go out and commit more violent crimes. And they think it's okay to go on all sorts of public platforms and make excuses for their domestic violence.
Which is what they've been doing in the Diddy trial. But I think we've all forgotten Mark Geragos
represents Chris Brown, another woman abuser who just got arrested in the UK and is out on bail for glassing someone in the head while he was being paid to make an appearance at a club called Tape in central London. And just like Diddy, he's had a multitude of allegations of assaults, which go all the way back to 2009, when he did this to Rihanna. And he probably would have got away with it had someone who saw them arguing in the street not called the police. And that was when Mark Geragos was first introduced to Chris Brown. And in this interview, he said he thinks of him like his own son.
Chris Brown, and Chris would tell you this, and so I'm not revealing attorney-client. That might be your way.
Okay, no, I understand.
Chris has said, well, first time we met, and mind you, the phone call I got was on the morning of the Grammys, and a buddy of mine called and said, this Chris Brown is, the LAPD's looking for him. Rihanna is the complaining witness / victim. I just can't emphasize enough to you how strongly I feel for this kid. I mean, I really do. I mean, I treat him literally like he's a nephew or a son. He immediately wanted to make amends. He felt horrible. It was awful. He was a young guy. I mean, he was 18 years old. He was the same age as my kids.
What does make amends mean, though?
Make amends mean he felt horrible.
Right, but I mean, did you make amends through the legal system or
either any way you want. I mean, if I have to plead guilty, if I have to do whatever, I'm willing to do it. And I told him no. I said, you wait and let me work through this thing.
We've read the police report.
It says he shoved her against her window, punched her in the left eye.
That at one point your mouth is filled with blood?
Yes. He had no soul in his eyes. Just blank. So at that point, I just didn't know what could happen. He was clearly blacked out. There was no person when I looked at him. It's almost as though he had nothing to lose. He has so much to lose. And it was almost like he had nothing to lose. It wasn't the same person that says, I love you. It was not those, it definitely weren't those eyes.
She says in his rage, he kept driving into an LA residential section. As she desperately tried to phone her assistant, he threw the phone out the window.
Police report also says he had you in a headlock, not once but twice, and actually bit you a couple of times. Once on the left side of your ear and also then bit your fingers. He bit you?
Yep. Even if I hit him first, that makes it okay for him to do that to me. They kind of give an excuse for what he did.
Did you hit him? Did you ever say to yourself, well, that was my fault?
No. Did not hit him. It was an argument.
A verbal argument?
Verbal.
Was there alcohol involved? Was he
No.
drunk? Were you drunk?
No.
No.
We weren't drunk. Weren't even drunk.
How did you think it was going to end?
That's all I kept thinking the whole time. When is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? When people can hear me screaming, when he's parked in a neighborhood and we're right in front of somebody's house. He kept saying, stop screaming, of course, but I kept screaming. And eventually they didn't come out. They just called the cops from inside. I was battered. I was bleeding. I was swollen in my face.
The picture taken that night, have you looked at it?
I get very embarrassed. I feel humiliated. I get angry all over again. Every time I see it, the whole thing plays back in my head. So I don't like to see it.
Why be ashamed? Why would you be ashamed?
I fell in love with that person. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that that's the type of person that I fell in love with. So far in love. So unconditional that I went back. It's humiliating to see your face like that. It's humiliating to say that this happened, to accept that.
She says she and Brown were in the car on the way home from that Grammy party. He was driving, and over the next 30 minutes, here's what happened. She saw a text message on his cell phone from an old girlfriend. She got angry.
I caught him in a lie, and he wouldn't tell the truth, so I wouldn't drop it. I kept saying I couldn't take that he kept lying to me, and he couldn't take that I wouldn't drop it. Because obviously, his back was up against the wall. The truth is right here in the text message. So, it escalated into him being violent towards me, and it was ugly.
Distinctions that might echo back to the ways you cope when you're a child in a troubled home. Something else she had never planned on letting the world know. What she says her father did to her mother.
Was it abusive?
Yes.
Physically?
Yes.
Severely?
Yes.
Did he hit her?
Yeah. On numerous accounts. It was like, I don't want to say normal, but it wasn't a surprise when it happened. Like, I just always anticipated it happening, and that's why at night I wouldn't want to sleep, because I was too afraid that it would happen. I just would pull her away. I would be beating on my dad's leg the whole time, just trying to stand in the middle, breaking glass bottles so that they could hear something else and snap out of it.
Was she taken to the hospital, to the doctors, that severe?
No, she never went to the hospital, but he broke her nose one time. But she would never go to the hospital. Domestic violence is not something that people want anybody to know, so she just would hide it in the house. I always said to myself, I'm never gonna date somebody like my dad. Point blank, denial is you start lying to yourself. The minute the physical wounds go away, you want this thing to go away. This is a memory you don't want to have ever again. So the minute the physical wounds go away, you put it in the back of your head and you start lying to yourself subconsciously.
Lying, saying it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Lying, saying he's changed. What lies?
Initially, you start thinking, what could I possibly have said to make him hit me and do this? Like, you replay that in your head, and then, eventually you're like, stop. I didn't talk about it to anyone, to no one. Not my friends, not my family. I didn't want people looking at me and feeling sorry for me, like there goes the victim. So I felt really lonely. There were times when I cried. There were times when I just sat there all day and watched TV. I couldn't even go back to my own house because there were 200 people outside with cameras, paparazzi, journalists, fans, neighbors. There were helicopters circling. So I feel like I went to sleep as Rihanna and woke up as Britney Spears or something, just to give you the level of chaos. And I'm like, if I feel this depressed, then what is he going through? Again, lying to yourself, I had to protect him. The whole world hates him now. His fans, his career. He lost me. I just need to let him know, don't do anything stupid.
You mean like hurt himself?
Yes.
You thought he might actually try to kill himself?
Everything was going through my head because I know he's never had to deal with something like this. I'm not saying that's an excuse for me to go back, but this is what I was thinking about.
But go back to him is exactly what she did. March 1st, just 3 weeks after the incident, she flew to be with Chris Brown in Miami. Her fans were thrown.
I think taking him back would be like saying it was okay to do that, and we all know that it's not okay.
I don't want you women out there to think that this is okay, because it is not. It is not okay. A man puts his hands on you, peace out, sucker.
They could try to make this relationship work if they chose to.
And there were also messages from some fans, some young girls, who said they were being hit and hurt too. Down in Miami, Chris Brown seemed to be so relieved she was back with him, even exuberant to have everything the way it was.
And did you think that was it? You were going to be back together again?
I actually didn't know. I actually did not know. I went through a host of emotions.
Did you tell him you forgave him?
No. It was confusing for me. I was still attached by love, but I wasn't thinking about the reality of the situation. I felt like I built this empire and the man that I love beat me, and because I'm going back, I'm gonna lose it? No. And even then, you see, you started lying to yourself again, and I just felt, nah, that's selfish. I can't think like that. That's selfish. What if I am supposed to help him? But when I realized that my selfish decision for love could result into some young girl getting killed, I could not be easy with that part. I couldn't be held responsible for telling them, go back. Chris, even if Chris never hit me again, who's to say that their boyfriend won't? Who's to say that they won't kill these girls? And these are young girls, and I just didn't realize how much of an impact I had on these girls' lives until that happened. It was a wake-up call. It was a wake-up call for me, big time.
How did you end it? When did you end it?
Shortly after Miami. I went right back to LA. I just said to him, I can't do this. I resented him. I resented him so much. And I always put the tough face on and try to, I can do anything face and just try to play it off. But he knew. He knew it. He kept asking me, you hate me, don't you? You hate me. And I would lie and I would say no. No. And I did. It annoyed, everything about him annoyed me, him being around me, him talking to me, everything was annoying for me. So finally, I just said, we can't do this.
And that was the last time you've spoken to him?
I spoke to him after that, but we weren't in a relationship. You know, he didn't accept that very well. Obviously he didn't want us to be apart. But I know how to make a decision for me.
he's grown now over the last 4 or 5 years that I've known him through this case, to the point where I really am proud of where he is. And I spoken as recently as 2 months ago with Rihanna when she was in the office.
Why was Rihanna in the office?
She was there that day, wanted to go to court with him, show her support.
Okay.
And
They were together then?
Yeah, they were together. And
they were a couple at that point.
They were a couple at that point. I assume they were a couple. They looked like they were a couple.
Now you're getting lawyerly on me, man. You were honest for like 10 seconds.
Exactly. And I said, well, maybe this is work product. She's no fool. This is a strong, very strong woman. There's nothing retiring about her.
Yeah.
She's not anybody's idea of a battered woman. In terms of the syndrome, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, if she can see that change in him, and I can see that change in him, those who don't know him, and mind you, like I say, she's known him for longer than I have, but I've known him for 5 years in a multitude of different situations. This kid is a really good guy.
In 2011, after his Good Morning America interview to promote his comeback album on CBS, he apparently stormed off the set and smashed up his dressing room after he was asked a couple of times about the status of his relationship with Rihanna. It was discovered that a window had been smashed in Brown's dressing room and the thick glass was destroyed and strewn across the street below. By the time the window was discovered, he and his team had left the building, but he was pictured shirtless outside the studio by paparazzi. In 2012, he was accused of snatching a fan's phone because she was trying to take a picture of him, and he was accused of robbery. That was in Miami. Then in 2013, another fan accused him of throwing her to the ground and obviously injuring her leg. That was outside another club appearance. His rep said his lawyer was unaware of the incident, but he was in a great mood when he left the club. None of this makes sense. Then there was another phone grab, this time when he was shooting a video in Colorado in 2015, and he forcibly ejected a woman who was not on the shoot. She was just a fan from his tour bus when she refused to give up her cell phone, which was captured on CCTV. She filed a claim for third-degree assault, which Mark Geragos defended him on again.
How are you feeling?
And you know who else likes to confiscate people's phones in his presence? P. Diddy. Then in 2016, he avoided charges again after a woman accused him of punching her in the face and taking her phone. This time it was a club in Las Vegas, and she'd been trying to take a photo with him during a private party. Also in 2016, there was a report his tour manager quit after he allegedly threatened her. And in May 2016, he allegedly stomped on a fan's head at a recent concert in Cannes, and that person ended up severely injured, as can be seen in this photo. And the list goes on, and the assaults have gotten worse every time his team denies it, and his team breezy weirdo fans come out with more excuses and more lies about his victims. And then we get to May 2025, just after making an Instagram post in support of Tory Lanez, who's currently in jail for shooting Megan Thee Stallion, and he's made no secret of his support for Tory Lanez, nor has Aiden Ross. These are the public figures that millions of teenage boys are listening to.
You used to watch the freestyles and shit?
Yeah, like, who was it? Soulja Boy, motherfucking Tory.
Tory had the craziest one, bro.
I mean,
crazy, bro.
He went crazy. Free my boy, man.
Free Tory in the chat, bro. Free Tory.
When he's finally arrested in the UK. and will have to face charges, although he is currently released on bail, so he can still go ahead with his whatever it is this time tour. The show must go on, apparently. What bit of him is a good guy, Mark Geragos?
Well, your nephew, and I got to change.
I say this, he's like my 19-year-old son, except with a whole lot more money.
And by the way, Mark Geragos has been investigated by the California State Bar over his handling of a $37.5 million settlement he received for victims of an Armenian genocide. He's been accused of using victims' names to file lawsuits and not giving them the money. And in 2019, he was named as a co-conspirator in a criminal case. He's got his own cases going on. And the guy he was accused of working with is now in prison for extortion. His name's Michael Avenatti, and he represented Stormy Daniels against Donald Trump. And one of the sex workers who is meant to be testifying at Diddy's trial is Jonathan Oddi. And Jonathan Oddi spoke of all of this in 2018 in a police interview which was posted on YouTube in 2020 after he was arrested for shooting up Donald Trump's Doral Hotel in Florida. And the more you watch this video, the more details you get from it. And it sounds like he was saying Mark Geragos was in league with P. Diddy. And it explains why he brought up Stormy Daniels. When this video was released, no one understood what he was going on about. But now it's all making sense.
I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts. It's his attorneys, which are Mark Geragos and Ben Mercedes. Ben Mercedes worked for Bad Boy Entertainment for 4 years and worked for Hillary Rodman for 5, okay? When I take Sean the threat of death on me, okay? I don't have it, but I can make it available under secrecy. That means that I wouldn't be liable because I don't want to be getting framed for anything, okay? I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would masturbate and tell me what to do with Cassie. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. Because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with speakers and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was. That's all right? I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they did. Mark Geragos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? And Christopher Leon's here was my attorney. They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so.
So what he said was he made a secret video recording using a spy camera while they were having a sex session, which we now know is because he was worried that Cassie or one of them was going to die. And he didn't want to get blamed. He sued Diddy for giving him herpes, and he handed over the recording, which he was keeping as a security.
They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible, I threw everything out, it's possible I can produce a copy.
Gotcha.
It's possible, I'm not sure. Now, how does this lead towards Donald Trump?
Okay.
The Mercedes family. Ben Mercedes, that works with Mark Geragos. Mark Geragos used to be Michael Jackson's attorney.
Yeah, out in Los Angeles.
Another client of Michael Geragos was Michael Jackson. Still believe he's innocent, and I think he still works for the Michael Jackson estate.
Yeah. He drugged Michael and they OD'd him, okay? He didn't overdose. They OD'd him because they keep the royalties of the music. Michael alone made $860 million alone last year, okay, in 2017, which who keeps that royalty? The music companies. Who represents the media and entertainment in the United States? Most of them, Mercedes does. Kenny Mercedes, which is Grumman Mercedes Shire out of New York, okay? So what they've been doing is they've been promoting a hate agenda against Trump. So people hate him. okay? Because they know he is very alpha, okay? Very alpha in the sense that he likes money, he likes to make money, and he likes women, and they know they want to defame him in certain ways with Stormy, with other people, because they want him out of the government, okay? But it ain't happening because it's too smart for them. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm trying to, right?
Don is intelligent. We have a similar type of intelligence and overview of things. The only thing is he's not seeing that Hillary is a distant cousin of his and Obama have a different plan for him. You understand? No offense with Obama. I love each and every American, but he was part of that 9/11 agenda. He's a CIA agent, an ex-CIA agent. That's why there's so much identity issues with Obama. Who knows his real name? So my problem is, I'm here to expose each and single one of them to the American public for the crimes committed on September 11th, 2001, and therefore. Okay?
Now tell me though, how all of that led up to Thursday night, Friday morning.
Well, I've been trying, my settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because otherwise I'll be sued. So I let it be, but they've been following me and they've had, Geragos has had the FBI on me, has had other agencies looking at me and spying on me, okay, because they want to set me up as an extortionist. Like if I was extorting Sean for money. It's wrong. Basically what happened is Diddy and Ross, which they're good buddies, okay, they're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross. And Khaled. They're all gay. Okay?
DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Hamas supporter. Okay.
Who supporter?
Hamas.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry, I said it wrong.
No worries.
Hamas supporter. Okay.
Right.
Basically, he's Arab, Palestinian. Okay. The Ciroc agenda, okay, is basically binge drinking poured out on a youth. They promote binge drinking and drugs.
Gotcha.
The hip-hop agenda was laid out by Obama during his last presidencies purposely. That's why they had Tupac killed, because when they kill them, you gain fame. When your record sales go up, and then people listen to your lyrics and everything, and then you become famous, okay? That's how they do it, all right? Tupac's still alive.
Yeah.
He's in Cuba. Basically, what happened is the following. The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs all over the United States. You need to inform the DEA. They move all the dope, okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by the inside the United States, okay. They move what's called high grade powdered MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine, I've drank it myself, having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time. Alright, he calls it G-Juice, but it's liquid cocaine.
Alright.
How do I know there's a conspiracy against Trump? Because it's in the Illuminati card deck. He should look at it for himself.
But let me bring you back to Thursday night, Friday morning.
Sure.
I mean, how did all of this? I think I better understand what you're saying. But what I want to know is, how did that prompt you? How did that make you do what you did that night?
Well, we're getting to a point that, okay, because it's an agenda they're perpetrating on the media and the news. Example, Madonna is a client of Mercedes, Ben Mercedes. He has her go on public TV and say, I thought so many times of going up and blowing up the White House.
Gotcha.
Okay? They gave her that little message. That little message is Hillary's message, okay? Because Hillary sends it to Geragos, and Geragos gives it to Mercedes, and they give it to the dog. Okay, now
I get all of that.
you're gonna need an internet so I can show you. If I show you the website, you're just gonna go like, oh fuck.
All right.
I was shot at by them, and he's a witness that Ross came and threatened me at my house post-settlement. After we settled, Diddy sent Ross, and I asked him to go see if that was Ross, and he confirmed his identity.
So Gonzalez, he can back up what you're saying about P. Diddy and Ross and all that? Okay, all right. And you said Gonzalez didn't know anything about what you did? You didn't talk to him before?
No.
He said his friend David Gonzalez was a witness to Rick Ross coming round to his house. And there's a video of P. Diddy and Rick Ross together in Miami, washing a car with Rick Ross's brand of car wax, and Diddy can barely open his eyes. So they definitely seem very close.
Y'all better stop wearing this slippery soap, man. Pour it on there, and then I just got it. Yeah, no, then I just... Hold on, let me see. You might have... I don't know. You need the sponge. We just almost up the tire shine. Get that tire shining. Rose, you need to get the drying milk. Slippery soap. Yeah, they can't stop the hustle. They can't stop the hustle.
He knows nothing. He was actually worried about me. He's like, hey, what's up? And I told him, look, man, what's happening is he's trying to cool things down, but then the feds have been harassing him. The feds. They have a big file of me like this, the feds. Since because P. Diddy and Mark Geragos have been trying to set me up and lock me up as an extortionist, asking for money. It was not so. My settlement was breached, and my settlement terms is one was called peaceful enjoyment. That means that if I went to your house or I did something, you'd have to pay me the full amount back and forth.
I get all that.
So I've been going through that since like 2012 still.
All right, and Gonzalez knows about that? You talk to him about that kind of stuff?
I talk to him alone because he's the only one that knows since the beginning. Gotcha. And then my ex-wife, she knows, she saw the contract. She has a contract, a picture of the contract. Tony Trotman. You need to call her and ask her for a copy of the settlement agreement.
Okay, all right. What did you, when you say you threw away everything, what's that?
My documents, everything I have, because I know they've been trying to follow me. And I just don't want my personal info getting,
I got you. No, I think I understand. But I mean, what I'm trying to understand is how can you have a business and not have a computer or work the phone?
Oh, I had it. I just threw them away the same day. I threw it all away.
You threw what away?
My computers and everything.
Well, where'd you throw them away at?
The garbage.
And your garbage?
Yeah, because they've been spying on me through that. They spy you through your computer, through your iPhone. They spy you through your TV screen, the cameras. Even if they're off, they manage to do it. It's called intelligence. The CIA is available. You can do anything.
Let me make sure I understand you now. Now, when you say you threw them away, you threw them into like a dumpster, or did you just throw them away in your trash can and you threw them away in the dumpster?
In my trash can.
Okay. Well, exactly what was it? Just like one computer?
No, everything. My documents, the settlement agreement, my computer, everything I threw. The TV, everything that they had been surveilling me on, I took it off because I wanted them to be in the dark.
Okay.
Because they've been watching me. So now they kind of freaked out, they kind of spooked out. But it needed to be done. And Donald needs to do his presidency correct. And he needs to know that these people are running him into the ground, running the country into the ground.
All right, we're going to come back to that. Tell me, all right, let's go back to Thursday night, Friday morning. Before you did what you did,
well,
what was your state of mind? I mean, what were you thinking?
Cool as ice. I went there. I knew what I was doing. It's not like I didn't know what I was doing. I knew what I was doing, and my point was, take down the flag and put it in the front desk and call the police shoot the chandelier to tell him to stop getting Saudi Arabia money.
Alright.
That's all, because Obama is behind him, so is Hillary, okay? So he's got to stop taking the Arabian money because he's letting everything slide. He's letting Obama stand right behind him, and so Hillary. He knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
He knows who they are. So does the CIA. Maybe the Secret Service doesn't because you all work for the president, correct?
Right.
You only work for the president, correct?
Some other people, but mainly the president, right?
Exactly. So the problem is, you're his circle, the CIA, and then a different circle.
Well, let me rephrase that. We don't work for him. We provide a service to protect him.
Exactly. That's why I want you to talk, and I would like this to be told to Donald Trump. Tell him I'm a supporter of him. I love him. I don't hate him. I know what his issues are. He has an issue right now with him that's bugging him a lot. It's called Stormy Daniels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it bugging him so much? Why is he lying to the people? Why is Donald lying to the people about Stormy?
And how does that make you feel personally?
I know the truth. I think it's a dummy situation. I think he should put his pants up and explain to the American people what the problem is. Stormy was sent by Geragos, Jonathan Oddi. Okay? They know each other because I know Christopher's been talking to Geragos for years. They've been doing, my attorneys here, Mace Laura, they've been doing business. They've been getting referrals for years after I cut the deal with Diddy. They made friends and they be doing deals.
I understand
and
all that.
They threw me into the feds for conspiracy of something that I had not done. I was claiming breach of settlement. Now,
So, just to recap that once again, he's talking about Mark Geragos, who he knows through suing P. Diddy for giving him an STD, and Michael Avenatti and Ben Mistrial, and he thinks they're using the FBI to follow him and Rick Ross to threaten him, which he's saying breaches the conditions of the $5 million settlement under something called peaceful enjoyment, and they want to accuse him of extortion. So we're going to see what comes out at this trial, if he does testify. But it explains why Mark Geragos does not want to be in the court, and he's more of a advisor on the team. And so then, on top of that, we have Kid Cudi, who gave testimony last week in the trial that Diddy had made threats to him. He's gone round to his house and ransacked it, and it looks like it was him that tried to firebomb his car with a Molotov cocktail, only it didn't explode. We've heard in court that someone from the LAPD authorized the destruction of the fingerprints evidence which the fire department had obtained from the scene. This trial has been crazy, and then after he gave evidence, there were stories online calling Kid Cudi a rat and a snitch. He's kept it to himself for nearly 14 years, and then he went on Instagram Live to thank his supporters, and at the end he says, "Go watch Neverland," because Mark Geragos was one of Michael Jackson's lawyers, and they've used the same playbook for Michael Jackson's victims.
People have been hitting me up the past week, just checking in, and even today, and it really means a lot to me, man. You guys are the best. I love y'all. This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me. And, yeah, I love y'all, man. Big love. Go stream Neverland.
So during the first week of the trial, the judge in the P. Diddy trial, Judge Abrumanian, he called Mark Geragos out and said he needs to stop going on TMZ, where he does a regular podcast, as a P. Diddy mouthpiece, for saying the prosecution attorneys was a six-pack of white women. He tries to make it into a black people versus white people issue, but P. Diddy has consistently abused black people. His white assistant George Kaplan made $100,000 a year, whereas Capricorn Clark, who was mixed race, was only on $55,000 a year. All these details are coming out at the trial, and one of his black attorneys resigned a few months ago. We still don't know what his reasons were. But Diddy's team have no defense for all the crimes he's been accused of, other than to do their best to undermine and discredit the witnesses. They've been calling for objection every other minute, and they've been desperately trying for months to get a lot of the evidence suppressed. And just after Kid Cudi testified, they asked the judge for a mistrial. Mark Geragos wrote the book called Mistrial. Literally, he has a book out called Mistrial. So, I don't know. It seems really obvious to me what's going on here. The lawyers seem to be complicit in some of this activity, and they re-victimize the victims and witness who are brave enough to come forward. And then Mark Geragos acts like it's one big funny game to him. And meanwhile, P. Diddy is rumored to be paying millions of dollars on a PR campaign to try and influence the public, to try and get their headlines out, to try and influence the opinions of the jury if they see it. And personally, I find it sickening to see how many media outlets get sucked in to this game. But I still think this time he's going to lose.
I have represented Sean off and on for 15 years.
I know.
My daughter represents
I know
Sean.
that too.
Traffic in rumors.
This is not a rumor. I know your client is telling people, you're representing him in the trial.
Have you talked to the client?
I am do you want to doubt me on this? Do you want to doubt me on this?
Hearsay.
Do you want to doubt me on this?
My daughter, Mark Agnifilo, Alexander Shapiro, there is a very able trial.
I understand that. You want to do you want to deny what I know? You can just look, I'm telling you what I know. Do you want to say it's not so?
Have you talked to Sean Love Combs? Have you talked?
I'm not going to tell you who I talked to, but I know I'm right.